morning, students who are appearing NEET September 30. So, our teaching is also important, no doubt, but your hard work, sincerity, dedication is also important. I am not in Bagapalli, I am not in classroom, right? I am somewhere in Andhra Pradesh, but on the welfare, on the benefit of you, right? I am teaching, I am taking some special class online through YouTube channel. But I will be satisfied when at least some students will get the good ranks. I will be more satisfied than your fees or other thing. So you must work sincerely, right? Now the next thing, I cannot teach detail. Already yesterday I keep the question paper 90 bits in the two chapters, living world, biological classification. If you are perfect with that 90 questions, right, almost you will be cover each and every line on the two chapters. Okay. Anyway, now I am going to some online class. Right. Now, living world. Right. It is the first chapter. Now, in this living world, right, what is living? What is living? Right. Just see. Now, frog, stool. Among these two, the frog is having the life. Hence, it is a living. But how can you say it is a living? Right. Due to presence of life. But life we cannot see, which is present in the frog. Due to this, even though it is not invisible, life is present. But how can you say it is a living? The stone does not contain life, hence it is called as non-living. That means the living and non-living differentiated by presence and absence of life. If the life is present, living. If the life is absent, non-living. But the life which is present in frog, right, it is not invisible. But how can you say? Based on some features, characters, features. Of course, many features is there, but according to NCERT, growth, reproduction, metabolism, consciousness, cellular development. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the features or characters. If it is present in anything, the life will be there. So, by this character, the thing is a living animal. Now, okay, I want this growth. Now, be careful, growth. Irreversible, permanent, increasing in size or number of living organism is called as growth. Right. Now, this growth is having some important features. Increasing in size, characters of the growth. For this increasing size, suppose my body size increases, this is also growth. When I am going to the reproduction, I become 1, become 2, 2 become 4. This is the number. It is also growth. Right. Population growth. Body size increases. Right. For this cell division. For this reproduction. The reproduction is a process. Reproduction is a process. Increasing number. Increasing number. Increasing number is also one of the character of the growth. Cell division. Cell division is the character. So cell division is a process to increase the size. Now this is our growth. This is the two twin characters. Okay? Right. Now the growth, just as I said, it is a character of living organism. But in some cases, it is also present in non-living organisms, like mountains. Like mountains. The dust and soil is deposited on the surface of the mountain due to some factors. Due to this, that non-living organism day by day size is increases. Hence, we can see the growth in non-living organisms also. Hence, the growth is not defining character. Not defining character. But it is the character of the living organism. But not defining character. So, right. Now come to what is the next one? Reproduction. Reproduction. It is a biological process in which each and every organism produces its own offsprings. This biological process is called as reproduction. Generally, the reproduction is a two types: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction without gametes, without fertilization. Sexual reproduction with gametes and fertilization. No doubt. Now, see, what is this? Reproduction. And what is this? Growth. Sometimes we cannot define, we cannot clearly not understanding which is the reproduction, which is the growth in unicellular organism. Synonyms and antonyms. The reproduction is a synonyms with growth. That means in unicellular organism, the reproduction is nothing growth, growth is nothing reproduction. But in multicellular organism, the reproduction is having one type of meaning. The growth is one type of meaning. The growth in multicellular organism, size is increases by cell division. In reproduction, the number is increases, but unicellular organism. Suppose unicellular organism. Now it is amoeba. Amoeba. Right. When it is undergoes cell division, it forms two. Now what is this? Cell division. Cell division. Actually, in multicellular organism, cell division form. Size or number. In multicellular organism, cell division shows size. Reproduction, number. Reproduction, number. This is the clear meaning, clear differentiation in multicellular organism. But in unicellular organism, right, we can't differentiate reproduction and growth, as it is exceptional to the multicellular organism. But, it is exception in unicellular organism. But in multicellular organism, right, reproduction is carrying a clear-cut meaning. The growth is also shows another clear-cut meaning. In multicellular organism, growth by cell division Growth, that means increasing size. Reproduction, increasing in number. But in unicellular organism, size, what is this? Reproduction and growth. Both are carried by only cell. Right. Now, the reproduction is also not defining character. Even though the reproduction is not seen in non-living organism. Any non-living organism does not show the reproduction. Right. But among the living organisms, right, male honeybee, worker honeybee, they never undergoes reproduction in their lifespan, but they have other features. They have growth, metabolism, consciousness, cellular organism. Hence they are living organisms. But these two living organisms does not show reproduction. Hence it is also exceptional, not defining feature. Defining or not defining? Growth, reproduction is not defining. Growth is not defining due to, right, this due to presence of growth in non-living organism. Reproduction is a non-defining character because it is not present in entire living organism. But there is no reproduction in non-living organisms. Right. Now from the metabolism. All biochemical reactions which takes place in living organism, all biochemical reactions which are occur in body. What is biochemical reaction? What is metabolism? Biochemical reaction or chemical reaction which support the life. Right. Now we can say in another way. Right. You know the chemicals. Right. Carbon dioxide and water. This combine to form glucose, photosynthesis. This is a chemical reaction. But these chemical reactions which are occur in living organisms, that is called as metabolisms. Right. The metabolism is the two types, anabolism and catabolism. Destructive, constructive. You know. Right. Now, see, according to NCERT books, right. No non-living objects exhibits metabolism. That means we can't see metabolism in any non-living organism. Okay. Right. This duster does not show the metabolism. Right. Metabolic reactions can be demonstrated outside of the body in cell-free system. It is 100%. The metabolic reactions which are occur in our body, we can demonstrate it outside the body in cell-free system. Without cell, outside, we can demonstrate. So, isolated metabolic reactions outside the body of organisms, right, performed in a test tube is neither living nor non-living. See, you know, it is the fallopian female reproductive system. You know, second year. After stomach junction is a place for fertilization. Right. What is the place of fertilization? After stomach junction. Okay. Why in this place only occur? Even though in internals, sperm and egg may be present. spore male and female gametes is also available in uterus, but this is not leads to the fertilization. That means when spore egg simultaneously reaches this area, in this place fertilization is occurred. That means the suitable conditions which are required in the fertilization is present in this area. Right. Now, due to advancement in biology, reproductive health chapter, IVF. IVF. Right. In vitro fertilization. That means the fertilization takes place in testing. Generally, it is a technology to infertile couple. Right. Now, which process? Fertilization. Which process? Fertilization. Right. But now fertilization is a metabolism. Fertilization is a metabolism which takes place in the body. In the body means this place. Okay. Hence, fertilization is a metabolism. But the same fertilization takes place in testing. That is outside the body. Isolated metabolic reactions. Isolated metabolic reactions outside the body of organism as performed in the testis, neither living or non-living. See. Now, this fertilization is occurring in the body. Hence, the body is living. But why it is not living? See, testing never occur. Living thing. See, living or non-living, neither living nor non-living. Testes never become living, neither living or non-living. Because the scientist created the suitable conditions which are present in fallopian tubule before such process. You know, another example, Miller-Urey experiment. Right. High temperature is created. Similarly, in the testing, the scientists created some conditions which are similar to the fallopian tube. Due to this, the fertilization is occurring. But you cannot imagine this testing easily. Right? Okay. But టెస్టిబ్లో జరుగుతుంది మెటబాలిజం పర్లేదు టెస్టిబ్లో ఫర్టిలైజేషన్ జరుగుతుంది రైట్ ఫెలోపియన్ ట్యూబ్యూల్లో జరిగే మెటబాలిజం టెస్టిబ్లో జరుగుతుంది కనుక టెస్టిబ్ని లివింగ్ అనాలా నాన్ లివింగ్ అనాలా రైట్ నైదర్ లివింగ్ ఆర్ నాన్ లివింగ్ సార్ టెస్టిబ్లో ఫర్టిలైజేషన్ జరుగుతుంది కానీ టెస్టిబ్ లివింగ్ అంటే కాదు కొందరు ఏమనుకుంటారంటే ఇప్పుడు లివింగ్ రియాక్షన్ జరుగుతుంది కనుక ఇది ప్లే కానీ సైంటిస్ట్ ఫర్టిలైజేషన్ కన్నా ముందే జరగక ముందే రైట్ ఈడ ఉన్న సూటబుల్ కండిషన్ ఇక్కడ క్రియేట్ చేస్తుంది వితౌట్ సూటబుల్ కండిషన్ క్రియేషన్ రైట్ ద ఫర్టిలైజేషన్ ఈజ్ నాట్ పాసిబుల్ ఇన్ ద టెస్ట్ right due to this it is neither living or non-living but it is a living reaction living reaction right NCERT book lo ee 4 లైన్లు ఉంది కొంచెం జాగ్రత్తగా చూడండి right now see now I completed the 3 characters growth reproduction metabolism among these 3 these 2 non-defining It is the defining. It is also defining. It is also defining. Consciousness, a sense, a sense. The sense is the character of only living. It is a non-living. It cannot show the sense. Cellular organization is also character of living organism. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Among these 5, 1, 2, 3. This is the defining features. These are non-defining features. Okay? Right. Now, what is this? Consciousness. Right. If any organism shows the response to the stimulus, if any organism shows the response to the stimulus, it's called consciousness. Cellular organization. Right. Every living body is made with cell. But due to in the course of evolution, the cells is raised into tissue, tissue is raised into organ is. This is called as cellular organization body. That means the life has in different levels according to cellular organization. The life at the cell level, the life at the tissue level, the life at the organ level, the life at the organ system. But there is no cellular organization. There is no consciousness. There is no metabolism. Right. Now come to the next topic. Right. Diversity in living world. Diversity in living world. Diversity in living world. All the life today existing on the earth. Different forms. Some are aquatic, some are terrestrial, some are living, some are parasitic, some are free living, some are parasitic, some are symbiosis. So different, right? Some are small, some are large. This is indicating diversity, right? Now, 1.2, 1.7 to 1.8 millions of species described. Described means in which sense it is described. Described. That means they are identified based on some characters and given the name and also classified. So for this understanding diversity in the living world, a separate branch is there that is called as taxonomy. Taxonomy. A branch of biology which deals with classification, characterization, identification, classification, nomenclature. Taxonomy, a branch of biology which deals with 4 important processes: characterization, identification, classification, nomenclature is called as taxonomy. Right. Now, the father of taxonomy, Carolus Linnaeus. Right. Now, what is this? Identification. Identification based on some characters. Right. Alright. Classification. Right. The identified based on a character, the identified organism keeps in different groups is called as classification. Now, what is this? Giving the name to the organism is called as nomenclature. As in this nomenclature, many systems is there. Binomial nomenclature is worldwide accepted. Worldwide accepted. Madam, right now. Nomenclature. Binomial, not binomial. Binomial. Once upon binomial. It is binomial nomenclature. It is popularized by Carolus Linnaeus. You know. Yes. Giving the scientific name with 2 words, genus and species, is called as binomial nomenclature. Okay. Right. Mangifera indica. Mangifera genus and indica is the species. Now, taxonomical categories. Hierarchy. Right. Taxonomical categories. Right. The taxonomy is not a single step process. The taxonomy we cannot complete in single step. It containing many steps. The steps of taxonomy is called as category. The level of classification is called as category or rank or taxon. The lowest is species, genus, family. Now what it is? Species. Now next one is genus, family, order, class, phylum, kingdom. This is the hierarchy. Yes. A systematic arrangement is nothing hierarchy. Now, what is this levels? Name the level tax. Yes. Any taxon is a unit of classification, but basic unit is called a species. A group of animals which are similar in fundamental characters. Species. A group of organisms which are similar in fundamental characters is called a species. It is having another definition. Right. A group of organisms which are undergoes natural interbreed and produce fertile progeny. That group is called as species. Now, third definition. It is a basic unit or basic unit to whom taxon. Right. A related species. The related species together form genus. Suppose, right now, Leo, right, Pandas, right, Tigris. The Leo is the species of lion. Pandas is the species of leopard. Tigris is the species of tiger. Right. Like this. Right. Like this. Two or many related species together form the genus. These three species together form a genus that is called as Panthera. Panthera is the genus of lion. The Panthera is the genus of leopard. The Panthera is the genus of tiger. Like this, another genus, Felis. Felis is the genus of cat. Canis is the genus of dog. This is the animal example. Plant example. Right. Tuberosum is a species of potato. Right. Melanginum is a species of brinjal. These two species together form a genus Solanum. Solanum tuberosum, Solanum melanginum. Right. Okay. Now come to this word is family. Right. Make it important now. Right. This family shows some important characterization. That is vegetative characters. And reproductive characters. This rule is applicable to only plants, in plants, but not animals. Right. Now, suppose what is this Felis? What is this Panther? These two together form, two genus together form family. Felidae. Idae. Adding of Idae to the genus, we can write the family. Right. It is in animal, but in plants, Solanaceae, Acaea, adding of Acaea to the genus, we can write the family. Idae, Acaea. Idae is animal genus. We will get the family as adding of Acaea to the plant genera, plant genus, then you will get the family. Right. Now, right. Solanum, Petunia, Datura, Adama. These are the three genera, plant genera, which together form Solanaceae. Why these three together in this family? Because these three shows similar in vegetative and reproductive characters. Vegetative reproductive character. Based on vegetative reproductive characters, the families together, based on vegetative reproductive characters, the genera together and form a family. This knowledge is applicable to only plants, but not animals. Right. Now the next one, order. Floral characters. Many families together form order. Right. One, Solanaceae, Convoluceae. Solanaceae, Convoluceae. Both are together form polymonas. These two are families. It is order. Now, why these two families is included in order polymonas? Because they shows similar floral characters. That means two or many families together form a order. That families, if at all, they are similar in floral characters. That is a rule in plant classification. Right. Now call it is class. Two or many orders together form class. Right. Phylum, phylum. This is the 7 taxa. Right. Now probably this next one. Right. Taxonomical. Right. Taxonomical acts. Now before going to the taxonomical acts, hierarchy. Species, genus, family, order, class, phylum. When you go from species to the kingdom, that is ascending. Species, the common characters is decreases. Another one, the classification become highly complicated at higher level. Once again, the common characters gradually decreases from species to kingdom. No doubt. Okay. Now the classification at higher level become complex because the relations between the species of other taxa in the same level is difficult. Due to this, the classification become complex at higher level than the lower. The lower level classification is easy than the higher level. Right. Now come to the taxonomical act. Anything which helps to understand taxonomical studies is called as taxonomical. Now, according to NCERT book, this is the taxonomical herbarium, botanical garden, museum, zoological parks, key, manual, flora, catalog, monograph. Now, first of all, herbarium. It is only for plants taxonomical A. Now, collection of different plants, dry, pressed, pinned, dry, pressed, pinned. This is the three process, right, on the prescribed sheets. After the preparation of this herbarium, it is give the information to the date, place of, date of collection, place of collection, name of collector who collect, and the name of specimen in English, local and scientific, right, and also family. This is the information is available in herbarium. Right. Herbarium. Now come to the botanical garden. Right. The wild animals, collection of wild animals, and give the protection under human care. This is called as botanical. Actually, it is ex situ conservation. Right. It is only for plants taxonomical A. In this botanical garden, each plant labeled with name of species and family. This is the only two. Right. Now come to museum. It is the collection and preservation. Preserved, not live. It is the living plant. It is the preserved plant and animals. Right. Collection of preserved plant and animal species. Right. It is the zoological park. Right. It is the animal taxonomical A. Right. Protection of wild animals in under human care. Right. In this zoological parks, we can observe the habitat, feeding habit, and behavior. Right. Now, what is this? Key. It is another taxonomical area for both plants and animals, but it is a somewhat different. Right. Based on the similarities and dissimilarities, we can make a procedure for identification of species. Identification of species by similarities and dissimilarities. That means in this procedure, making the procedure in the key, right, a pair of controversial characters is there. Suppose, right, the body is covered with hair or without hair. The body is covered by the scale or without scale. This is the characters helps to the identification of animal. This in this way is called as key. The two controversy statement is called as couplet, and each one is called as lead. Right. Now it is an analytical nature. It is among these various taxonomical A, it is analytical nature. Flora. It is for only plants. It gives information. How many plants is there in area based on habitats and distribution. Right. Now, what is this monograph? This is the taxonomical A which gives explanation only one taxa in particular area. Manuals. Right. It gives the information about the names of species in a particular area. This is called as manuals, monograph, key, analytical. Right. Herbarium. Analytical key. Quick refer. Among this among this 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 is there. We want very quick reference about the taxonomically. Now, herbarium. Now we want very analytical nature, that is called as keep in your mind. It is all these are taxonomical aids, but quick reference system is called as herbarium. It is an analytical nature. Now this is about the taxonomical aids. Now come to the biological classification. Biological classification. Right. Now the living organisms which are present on the earth shows the diversity. When the diversity is there, classification is there. Now the classification of living organism. Right. The total living world is classified into 2 kingdoms. According to Chemosynthetic, yes, it is a failure. Right. 3 kingdoms. Heckel, it is also failure. 4 kingdoms. That is Poppy land, it is also failure. 5 kingdoms, which is proposed by R.H. Mitchell. According to R.H. Mitchell, 5 kingdoms: Monera, Protista, Fungi or Mycota, Plant, Insect. Oh, this is the 5 kingdoms. Total living organism is classified into 5 kingdoms according to Mitchell. Before this it is 4 kingdoms. In 4 kingdoms, alright. What are the kingdoms? That means Monera, Protista, Plant, which kingdom is not there? Right. That means name the new kingdom according to 5 kingdoms. Fungi. This fungi is not there in 4 kingdoms, but fungi is included in plant. Right. According to 3 kingdoms, only 3 kingdoms. Right. What are the 3 kingdoms? Sorry, 3 kingdoms. Right. Protista, Plantae, which kingdom is not there? Monera. That means the Monera is the new kingdom according to 4 kingdom. Right. In this 3 kingdom, which kingdom is not there? Monera. The Monera is included in Protista. Now, according to 2 kingdoms, only 2 kingdoms, plants and animals. See what I am saying. Right. Previously, 2 kingdoms. Lineage, plant and animal. But at present, how many kingdoms? 5. But Protista, Fungi, Monera. These 3 kingdoms is not there in 2 kingdom time at the time of canvas lineage. But this life is there. This life is there from the beginning of earth. But where they are included? Some are plants, some are animals. That means 2 kingdom classification is a failure. There is no correct position for unicellular organism. Plants, unicellular plants is there, multicellular. Right. Animals, unicellular animals is there, multicellular animals. Now after the 2 kingdom, 3 kingdom is there, that is Heckel. The Heckel given the correct position for unicellular organism, that is called as Protista. Next, 4 kingdom classification, right, the correct position for prokaryotes. Now 5th kingdom, 5 kingdom classification, correct position for fungi. Right. Now come to the characters of 5 kingdoms. Criteria. 5 kingdoms. Classification. Complexity of cell. Callus organization. Mode of nucleation. mode of reproduction, evolutionary relationship. Based on these 5 characters, right, RH will take a classified into 5. But before that, now this is not a permanent. In future, this may be changed. That means the classification is ever changing. Previously 2 kingdoms, it is a change into 3 kingdoms. 3 kingdoms changed into 4 kingdoms. But now 5 kingdoms is already changing. A new classification is also there. That means what I am saying, the classification is ever changing. Why classification is ever changing? Right. Right. Our brain understanding, is day by day is improvement. And day by day evolution. Based on 2 characters. Our understanding, improvement of our understanding. Improvement of our understanding. That means in 2 kingdom classification, at the time of colossal animals flash. Right. That means at the time of coronal illness, we are not having any knowledge about unicellular, multicellular. But unicellular organism is there, multicellular organism is there. But we are not having such type of knowledge at the time of careless illness. After the careless illness, Haeckel is there. The Haeckel is not accepted. Right. Including of unicellular and multicellular both are in one kingdom. Right? Hence, unicellularity in this animal, unicellularity in this plant separated and kept in protection. This is improvement of our understanding at Haeckel. Again, our understanding again. Like in this unicellularity, prokaryote is there, eukaryote is there. Finally, what I am saying, right, this is the 2 important characters. Improvement of our understanding and ever changing, that is evolution. By this 2 character, classification is always must be changed or updated year by year. Now, okay, this is about the 5 kingdom classification. Now come to the first of all, Monera. Now I can explain without chapters because time factor is there. Kingdom Monera. Right. Kingdom Monera. All prokaryotic unicellular organisms are included in Monera. All bacteria are example in this kingdom, are included in this kingdom. When Monera is combined with other organism, but is important, is there in NCERT book, underline, right. When compared with Monera with other organism, this bacteria simple structurally, behaviorally complex. This is the one of the second one. Unicellular prokaryotic organism. Nucleus without nuclear membrane. Cell wall is there. Non-cellulosic cell wall. Non-cellulosic cell wall. All membrane bonded organelles are absent. Ribosome is present but 70 years. Right. Now come to Some are free living in soil, water. Some are parasitic. Some are symbiotic. Some are photosynthetic. Right? Different shapes. Right? Some are rod-like basinus. Some are common. Some are different 4 shapes is there based on morphology. Right? The next one, Java is now. The majorly 2 types, Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. The monerans is the two types, Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. The Archaebacteria means ancient bacteria. Right. Again, this is the three types. Right. Which lives in high temperature. Thermoacidophils, halophils, methanogens. Right. Methanogens, which lives in, right, stomach of some cattle, ruminants, as anaerobic and produce biogas. Right. Now, the next one, Eubacteria, true bacteria. This true bacteria is again two types, autotrophic, heterotrophic. Autotrophic again is the two types, photosynthetic, chemosynthetic. Photosynthetic autotrophic bacteria is called as blue-green bacteria or cyanobacteria. Example, Nasta, Aceratoria, Anamina. Now, right, this is the unicellular filamentous. A specialized cell is there, heterocyst, which helps in fixation of nitrogen. Right. Chemosynthetic bacteria. This chemosynthetic bacteria, in this chemosynthetic bacteria, ATP is synthesized by the oxidization of some inorganic substance, nitrates, nitrites and ammonia. But in photosynthetic, sunlight, like higher green plants. Sunlight is the source of ATP synthesis, but in chemosynthetic, ATP synthesis by some oxidization of inorganic substance like nitrates and ammonia. Right. Now come to the heterotropics. Among these heterotrophs, maximum saprophytes, yes, which feeds on decaying substance. Some are parasitic. Right. Mycoplasma. It is a living, smallest living organisms which can survive without oxygen. Generally, these are parasites in plants and animals. Now, this is the Monera, kingdom Monera. Now come to the Protista, kingdom Protista. Protista. This Protista is also unicellular eukaryote. Unicellular eukaryote. But they are different with monerans. Monerans are prokaryotic, these are the eukaryote. Because they contain a distinct distinct nucleus, and all membrane bounded cell organelles is present. Mitochondria, chloroplast, this is the double membrane cell organelles is present. Right. They have cilia, flagella, pseudopodia for the locomotion. In bacteria, only flagella. Only flagella. Right. Now, this protistans, mode of nutrition is a different. Some are photosynthetic, some are saprozyte, some are holozyte. Monerans, bacteria, mostly decomposers. But these are autotrophs is there, decomposers is there, consumers is there. Right. Now, these protistans containing 5 groups: chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slimes, protozoans. Now, these 3 autotrophic protistans. This means they are photosynthetic protistans. They make their own food. Slimes, right? Fungal protistans are saprophytic protistans. These are the consumer protistans based on nutrition. Now, chrysophytes. Again, this is containing 2 types. Right. Desmites, golden algae. Desmites, diatoms. Generally, right, it is a marine, fresh water, and also moisture. Right. Here, the cell wall in chrysophytes, the cell wall is like a soap box. Right. The cell wall is arranged like a soap box, and it is not easily destructible. is not easily decomposition, even though the animal may be decomposed by outer surface cell wall is not indestructible. Hence, after the death, the diatoms deposited on the base of ocean and form a layer. Hence, it is called as diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth. Now come to the dinoflagellate. Dinoflagellate. It is dino to flagella, right, which are arranged in a grooves perpendicularly. Example, goniates. Due to rapid multiplication, the surface of sea appears as a red because it is a red in color. Dinoflagellates, that is goniates, is a red in color due to multiplication. The number of goniates increases and floats on the surface, and its total surface of seawater appears red. Hence, it is called as what is that? Red in color. Now, what is this? Diatoms. Diatom is earth. Right. It is siliceous cell wall. Right. Diatoms are major producers in the ocean. Underline. Diatoms is the major producers in the ocean. Now, euglenites. It is also biflagellated, but here one is long, one is small. It is also one is a long, one is a small. Unequal two flagella, but this is arranged perpendicular. It is normal arranges. Right. Now, here cell wall is there, here is also cell wall. But in euglenoids, the cell wall is absent. In the place of cell wall, a proteinous pellicle is there. Right. Now, generally it is present in stagnant fresh water. It is a mixotrophic. In the presence of sunlight, it is undergoes autotrophic nutrition. In the absence of sunlight, it is undergoes predation. Right. Now, next one. What is this slime? It is a saprophyte protistans. These are unicellular aggregate. That means they live together. Right. During favorable condition, right, they aggregate and form a mass. This mass is called as plasmodium, which increases some feeds. But as a single cell, single organism, you can't see. But due to aggregation, due to favorable condition, as this mass of slimones during some favorable condition is called as plasmodium. Right. When conditions are unfavorable, this plasmodium divide and form as spores, which are covered by cell wall. Right. Due to some agents, water or air, these are dispersed to the other area where the conditions are there. Right. The cyst cell wall will be dissolved and go to the division and become plasmodium. Right. Now the next one. Right. Protozoa. These are the consumer protistans or animal protistans. For nutrition is volozyte. This is again 4 types. Right. Amoeboid, flagellated, ciliated, sporozoa. Amoeboid protozoans. Right. Amoeba, entamoeba. Right. In the NCERT textbooks, the amoeboid protozoans who lives in sea is having siliceous cell wall, that is Elphidium. Example is not given in the book, but some marine amoeboid protista, having cell wall, that is siliceous cell wall. Now the next one, right? Here amoeboid protista, free living is there, parasitic is entamoeba, free living is amoeba. Now what is flagella? Trypanosoma cambiense is a flagellated parasite which causes sleeping sickness. Is it? Now, next one. Ciliated. Paramecium is the best example. Fresh water with containing cilia. Right. They have some path to entry of food is called as gullet. Gullet. Now come to the sporozoa. Right. This is not containing. This is the pseudopodia. This is flagella. This is cilia. Right. Without any locomotory organelles. That is called as sporozoa. Yes. Because these all are endoparasite of man. Plasmodium is the best example for the spores. Now this is about the protist. Now come to the right. Down. Fungi. Right. Fungi. Kingdom Mycota. Kingdom Mycota. Right. These are achlorophyll, multicellular organism except yeast. Only yeast is unicellular. 90% shows saffrosa. Some are parasite. Free living, some are parasite. Right. The cell wall is present, non-cellulosic cell wall. The cell wall composition, chitin and other polysaccharide. That other polysaccharide means not cellulose. Right. Now come to this next one. Right. The body of fungi is called as mycelium. Multicellular body is called as mycelium. This mycelium made with cell. The cell is a filamentous, is called as hyphae. Some hyphae is a uninucleated. Some hyphae are multinucleated. Is a differ from one species to other species. Some species, hyphae of some species uninucleated. Right. Some hyphae of other species. Hyphae of other species is multinucleated. This multinucleated condition is called as cenocytic condition. Right. Now, parasitic fungi. Now, I want example parasitic fungi. Right. Now, next one. Just Eustylaria, Vaccinia. Right. Albugo. Eustylaria, rust disease on wheat and sugar. Eustylaria, smust disease. Name the disease caused by Eustylaria, smust on groundnuts. Groundnut is a host, it is a parasite, it is the disease. Right. Eustylaria, albugo, mustard. Right. Now, one of the fungi which is beneficial to the man, penicillium, which produce antibody. Right. Now, Neurospora is also belongs to fungi. Is also belong to the fungi which used in laboratories for genetical experiments. Right. Yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, right, which is used in preparation of food items in kitchens and other. Right. Trichoderma is also fungi which is act as a biofertilizers. This is the right economical value of fungi. Right. Now come to the right. Right. The fungi shows diversity in habitat and morphology. Habitat and morphology. When compared compare with other, the habitat and morphology is very vast in fungi. Some are lives on soil, some are lives in water, some are lives in man, some lives in coconut, some lives on dung. So this is the habitat morphology is also different. Now come to this reproduction. Vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. The vegetative reproduction by fragmentation and budding. Asexual reproduction by spores. Sexual reproduction is also by spores. These spores are different. Asexual, which is formed by the mitosis. The sexual, which is formed by the meiosis. The sexual reproduction of fungi. The sexual reproduction of fungi is having three important stages. Plasmogamy, karyogamy, meiosis. Plasmogamy, meiosis. This is the three important stages in sexual reproduction. Right. The sexual reproduction of fungi must show these three. Right. Spores. Right. Zoospores, Cornelia. Generally, this is the name of the spores which are involved in asexual. Basilospores. It is a sexual reproduction. Now, in the textbook, fruiting bodies. Fruiting bodies. What is fruiting bodies? Right. Now, see. It is the body. Whose body? Fungal body. It is called as mycelium. When you see the under electron microscope, it is having some filaments. Each filament is called as hypa. So first it is hypa. It is hypa. Okay. If the conditions are favorable, now this hypa is ready to form the spore. This hypa. Among these three hypa, this hypa take responsibility to form spore. Such hypa which are responsible to form the spore is called as fruiting bodies. Right. This fruiting body's name is different from different species. Suppose in Fuchsinia. Right. Now what is this? This is the, suppose this is hypa of Fuchsinia. Now among these three hypa of Fuchsinia, it is now taking responsibility. Now before going to this, just wait. Right. The spore formation, exogenous and endogenous. Spore formation. Exogenous, outside. Endogenous, inside. Now, how it is? Now it is a hypa. It is another hypa. It is another hypa. Now it is ready to form spore. Hence it is called as fruiting body. Right? It is also hypa, which is ready to form the spores. Hence it is called as fruiting bodies. But the spore formation is different. Now the hypa is as it is. Nucleus is undergoes division. Meiosis or mitosis, whatever it may be, either it is sexual or asexual, depend on. Now, binucleated, become tetranucleated, 4. Now, each nucleus synthesis cell wall, cell membrane, and cell membrane, cell wall, and becomes 4. Now, the spores inside the cell. Now, here are not like that. It is undergoes division. Here only. First of all, initial is nuclear division and followed by cytokinase. Here both are located. Suppose it is the one cell, it is divided. Karyokinesis, cytokinesis simultaneously and become it is spore. One spore. Right. It is become hypa. Again it grows and again go to the division. Right. Like this. Gradually upper part of hypa becomes spore. Right. Here the spore is inside, hence it is endogenous, it is called as exogenous. Now come to this. Now suppose it is a vaccine. Right. Vaccine. Right. Now it is what it is? Hypa. Right. Now, which is undergoes division, karyokinesis and form. Right. Now it is a fruiting body of vaccine. Right. This force is called as basidiospores. Hence, this fruiting body is called as basidium. This is the four spores of vaccinia. Four spores of vaccinia. Name the four spores. Basidiospore. Hence, the fruiting spore is called as fruiting body is called as basidium. Basidiospores is produced in basidium. What is basidium? Fruiting body. Similarly, right. What is this? Conidia. Conidia. Now, this is the hypa which is responsible to form conidiospores. Conidium. Now it is conidium is a fruiting body. Now this is about the fruiting bodies, exogenous, endogenous. Right. Now classification. Right. Fungus classification. Based on morphology, types of spores, the kingdom fungi is classified into 4 classes. Ascomycetes. Sorry, first one is Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Bacillomycetes, Deuteromycetes. Right. Thank you.